Let's talk about the Arctic blast, a sudden, powerful wave of frigid air that sweeps down from the North Pole, transforming the weather in its path. These blasts are not just a regular cold snap, they're a dramatic shift that can catch people off guard and change the landscape in a matter of hours. This air is bone-chillingly cold and dry, formed over the icy Arctic. It spends days or even weeks swirling above the frozen polar region, growing colder and denser as it sits atop the ice and snow. When it finally moves, it brings with it the harshest chill the planet can offer. When it moves south, it shoves away warmer air, causing temperatures to plummet by 20 or 30 degrees in just a day. The change can be so sudden that it feels like winter has arrived in an instant, catching communities unprepared. Unlike a typical cold front, an Arctic blast is a true invasion of polar air, often bringing fierce winds and dangerous wind chills. These winds can make the cold feel even more intense, increasing the risk of frostbite and hypothermia. The jet stream, a fast-moving river of air high above us, usually keeps this cold locked up north. It acts like a barrier, holding the frigid air in place and protecting much of North America from its full force. But when the jet stream dips deeply over North America, it opens a path for Arctic air to surge southward. This shift can happen quickly, and meteorologists watch for these patterns to warn people in advance. This can bring record lows, heavy snow, and ice, even to places like Texas or Florida, where winter weather is rare. Suddenly, regions unaccustomed to snow and ice must deal with hazardous roads and power outages. These blasts disrupt daily life, threaten crops, and can be dangerous for people and animals. Farmers rush to protect their fields, and families scramble to keep warm and safe. That's why meteorologists pay close attention and urge everyone to prepare. Early warnings can save lives and help communities brace for the impact. Understanding Arctic blasts helps us take them seriously and stay safe. Preparation is key. Knowing what to expect can make all the difference when the cold arrives. It's not just cold weather, it's a major event that can change everything overnight. Streets empty, routines are disrupted, and the world outside can look completely transformed by morning. So, when you hear Arctic blast, think of a true winter shockwave, a force of nature that demands respect and preparation. What set this Arctic blast apart was its timing. It hit in early November, not the dead of winter. Most people expect the first real cold snap to arrive much later, when the holidays are just around the corner and winter coats are already out of storage. Just days before, much of the country was enjoying mild, sunny weather in the 60s and 70s. Parks were full, people strolled in light jackets, and it felt like autumn would linger for weeks. Then, almost overnight, temperatures plunged by 25 degrees or more. The change was so abrupt that it caught many off guard, forcing people to dig out scarves and gloves they hadn't even thought about yet. In South Carolina, for example, Sunday was a balmy 72 degrees. By Monday, it barely reached 47. That's a swing more typical of a midwinter cold front, not something you'd expect before Thanksgiving. This kind of dramatic drop is rare so early in the season. Usually, autumn's chill creeps in gradually, giving people time to adjust. The culprit? A strong ridge of warm air in the west forced the jet stream to dive south, creating a superhighway for Arctic air. This unusual pattern set the stage for a rapid and widespread freeze. The result? Record-shattering cold with temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below normal. Cities that rarely see frost before December woke up to icy windshields and frozen lawns. Even the deep south saw readings more typical of January than November. Palm trees and magnolias were dusted with frost, a sight that left many residents in disbelief. Meteorologists called it historic, an early, intense freeze that caught everyone off guard. Weather alerts lit up phones and news screens as people scrambled to prepare. It was a powerful reminder that weather can flip from autumn to winter in a single day. One moment, leaves were falling. The next, snowflakes were swirling through the air. This blast didn't just break records, it rewrote what we expect from November. For many, it was the earliest taste of winter in living memory. Mother Nature delivered a deep freeze long before Thanksgiving. Outdoor plans were canceled, and holiday decorations were dusted with snow instead of leaves. And it left millions scrambling to adjust, rushing to buy winter supplies and bundling up for a cold that arrived weeks ahead of schedule. The Arctic blast swept across nearly the entire eastern U.S., Starting in the northern plains and upper Midwest, temperatures plunged into the single digits, with wind chills making it feel even colder. Cities like Chicago and Detroit saw highs stuck in the 20s. More like January than November. The cold air barreled east, freezing the Ohio Valley and Northeast, and even reached the Gulf Coast. Southern states like Alabama and Georgia dropped below freezing, and northern Florida saw rare frost warnings. Millions from the Canadian border to Florida shivered together. The blast's reach was stunning. Winter arrived early for almost every state east of the Rockies. People who'd been enjoying autumn suddenly faced a deep freeze. It was a national weather event, uniting the country in a collective shiver. The power and scope of this Arctic blast were truly remarkable. The Arctic blast didn't just bring cold, it delivered snow too, catching many off guard. The first flakes fell in the northern plains and upper Midwest, quickly blanketing states like Montana and Minnesota. As the system moved east, heavy snow hit Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. Often the first measurable snow of the season. Roads turned slick, and communities had to switch from autumn to winter mode overnight. The most dramatic snow came from the Great Lakes, where frigid air created intense lake-effect storms. Buffalo and Watertown, New York, were buried under feet of snow with rates of 2 inches per hour. Even the deep south saw flurries. Snow was reported in northern Georgia and Alabama. While it didn't stick, the sight of snow before Thanksgiving was shocking. This early season storm highlighted just how powerful and unusual the Arctic blast was. Winter arrived with a vengeance, far ahead of schedule. When the Arctic blast hit the Northeast, it brought biting cold, fierce winds, and a sense of urgency that swept through cities and towns alike. The sudden drop in temperature caught many off guard, forcing people to brace themselves for what felt like a deep freeze settling in overnight. Heavy snow blanketed neighborhoods, transforming familiar streets into wintry landscapes almost instantly. In some areas, the snow fell so thick and fast that visibility dropped to just a few feet. Cities from Philadelphia to Boston saw temperatures nosedive, with thermometers plunging well below freezing in just a matter of hours. Wind chills made the air feel even more brutal, stinging faces and making every step outside a challenge. Residents scrambled for winter gear, rushing to buy coats, hats, and gloves as stores quickly sold out of essentials. The region shifted from autumn's last colors to deep winter white almost overnight, leaving little time to prepare. Travel was a mess. Snow and ice made roads treacherous, causing traffic jams and slow commutes. Especially in upstate New York and across New England, rural roads became nearly impassable, stranding some drivers. Flights were delayed or canceled at major airports, leaving travelers stranded in holiday plans in limbo. Highways saw accidents and speed restrictions as emergency crews worked around the clock to keep people safe. Local governments opened warming centers, offering shelter and hot drinks to those in need. Utility crews prepared for outages, braving the elements to keep the power on for thousands of homes. The energy grid was strained as everyone cranked up the heat, pushing systems to their limits. Public service announcements urged people to check on neighbors, especially the elderly, and to protect pipes from freezing. The timing was tough, arriving just as the holiday season began, disrupting plans and adding stress to an already busy time. But Northeasterners are resilient. Snowplows cleared streets day and night, and neighbors helped each other dig out. Life carried on, bundled up against the cold, with children still finding joy in the fresh snow. It was an early test of winter's strength, a reminder of how quickly conditions can change. The region adapted quickly, showing determination and community spirit in the face of adversity. The blast was a powerful reminder: winter waits for no one, and the Northeast always finds a way to endure. South Carolina went from sunny and 72 to a hard freeze in just 24 hours. The sudden drop, 25 degrees in a day, caught everyone by surprise. By Tuesday morning, Greenville-Spartanburg hit a frigid 26 degrees, far below the November average. This hard freeze ended the growing season for many crops and flowers. Farmers scrambled to harvest what they could, while gardeners watched their plants wilt overnight. The community rushed to protect pipes and check heating systems. People swapped short sleeves for heavy coats in a matter of hours. The sun returned midweek, but the memory of that deep freeze lingered. It was a stark lesson in how quickly an Arctic blast can change everything, even in the South. South Carolinians learned to expect the unexpected from Mother Nature. Winter had arrived, ready or not. Even Florida felt the Arctic blast's reach, with northern and central parts waking up to rare November frost. Temperatures dipped into the 30s, prompting frost advisories and concern for the state's vital crops. Farmers rushed to protect strawberries, tomatoes, and citrus, using fans and irrigation to shield plants from the cold. For many, it was the first frost threat of the season, and a potential financial blow. Residents dug out sweaters and turned on heaters for the first time in months. Social media buzzed with jokes about Florida winter arriving early. The cold didn't last, but seeing frost in places like Orlando was memorable. For most Floridians, it was a novelty, but for farmers, it was a serious challenge. The event showed just how far and fast an Arctic blast can travel. Even the Sunshine State isn't immune to a deep freeze. The blast left a chilly mark on Florida's fall. As the Arctic blast approached, people across the east scrambled to prepare. Homes were checked for working heat, and pipes were insulated to prevent freezing. Farmers harvested crops and protected livestock, while gardeners covered plants. Cities opened warming centers, and road crews readied salt trucks and plows. Utility companies put extra crews on standby for possible outages. People canceled outdoor plans, stocked up on groceries, and dug out winter gear. Preparation was key. Quick action helped many weather the storm safely. The deep freeze was a reminder to always be ready for sudden weather shifts. The Arctic blast didn't last forever. By midweek, the jet stream shifted and the cold retreated north. Temperatures slowly climbed back toward normal, and the sun melted away snow and ice. In the south, highs rebounded into the 60s. In the Midwest and Northeast, the worst of the chill faded. Life returned to normal as travel improved and heavy coats were put away, at least for now. Forecasters predicted a more typical back-and-forth weather pattern for the rest of November. No more record-breaking cold was expected soon, but winter had made its presence known. The early blast was a wake-up call. Be ready for anything. It was a historic event, remembered as the year winter arrived early. The country braced for whatever the rest of the season might bring. One thing was clear: Mother Nature always has surprises in store.